This episode was brought to you by My Extraordinary Productions, offering budgeting and scheduling services. So, as I've gone over several times before, films have a habit of just hemorrhaging money. So, here are a couple thoughts of places where you should actually spend your money versus places where you can afford to cheap out. When it comes to editing, no one is going to know that you used iMovie instead of Final Cut, instead of Adobe Premiere, instead of After Effects, instead of Avid, instead of DaVinci Resolve, instead of whatever software exists. So, if no one's gonna know, you might as well go for the free one. If you are an editor, there may be a point in your career where you say, iMovie is great for simple things, but I need to have several layers and I need to have all these special effects going on, in which case it definitely makes much more sense to upgrade to some of these higher tier editing softwares. But if you're just doing really basic cuts, you can get away with iMovie. If this is one of your first projects, or you're just shooting with a really trusted friend or something, you can get away with using a stack of books instead of a tripod. Yes, if you're a cinematographer, at some point you will want a really awesome tripod that can do all sorts of cool things. But if you're just doing super basic stationary things, you can get away with a stack of books, a bunch of boxes, someone with a very steady hand. You can get away with other things. Speaking of tripods and cameras, your camera does not have to be 4K, 8K, etc. The human eye cannot tell the difference between 720p or 1080p or 1080p and 4K or 4K and 8K. 4K and 8K cameras are great when you know you're going to have to crop and when you know that you're going to be shooting this thing and putting it on a big screen in a movie theater. But if you're just making YouTube videos, 1080 is fine. You can also fake a set. I've talked about this several times, that sometimes it's just a lot easier to have a normal location and make it look like something else. Even if you can only imply what your set is, you might be able to get your audience to be on board. People may be willing to forgive your set, people may be willing to forgive your camera quality, people may be willing to forgive a lot of things, but they will not forgive a bad story. So make sure your story is good. Where should you spend your money now? If you can only spend money on one thing, it should be the sound. People will forgive bad video much more quickly than they will forgive bad audio. Here's an example of me using my good audio, and here's an example of me using less good audio. You should spend money on the things you either do not want to learn to do, or do not want to learn to do right now, or the things that you know how to do them, you just don't like doing them. You're already going to be doing a lot of things you need to delegate, and the things you don't want to do in the first place are an easy place to start delegating. Finally, you should spend money on food and not just pizza. First of all, if people go to buy their own lunch or are expected to bring their own lunch, you have to worry about bringing them back, whereas if you feed everyone on set, they're not going anywhere. Second, you're already running around everywhere. Food is an easy thing to delegate that. Third, if you're using free labor or highly discounted labor, it is a great token gesture. And fourth, it's a morale thing. People like to complain, and when the food is bad, the complaining is worse. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all next time.